We're back. Yes, sir, Bob. We are back. Back in the saddle. Oh, wait. Is this the music I want? I want some of that. Oh, just obviously started with a commercial. Hello, sir. Mr. Kolovrat. Welcome back. Welcome back. Now, is that symbol in your icon there, is that for all Slavic people, or is that unique to a specific country in Eastern Europe? Just curious. Or is it, I don't know, yeah. I've looked through symbols like that before, and it's really cool how there's so many out there, you know? You know what, I think we're gonna have to turn this around. What's new in your world there, buddy? Hope your Monday is going okay. I had a pretty decent day. Happy to say. Mr. Kolovrat says the symbol in my PFP is not Slavic. It's just unique to my channel. The symbol you're thinking of is the Kolovrat. The name is Russian for spoked wheel, but it's generally used by a lit of Slavs. It's going okay for me. All right, well, that's happy to hear. I don't know if that's what I want. Do I want it this way? I think what might be the easier way to do this. So I got to start putting the pedal to the metal with this. I got a lot of work to do. The birthday Halloween weekend, took a lot of time up. But this is it. This is the where we put the pedal to the metal. I start working harder on this stuff. One of the upcoming pages, which I worked on today, it's one of these pages where there's like narration about other plot lines and things that came and went, and it's super fucking complicated. So there's these really cool aliens and just all kinds of weirdness, all kinds of fascinating things coming down the line here. Anyway, American Rebel is here. Wow, American Rebel. It's B Crusader Baldwin. Oh, so you have a new name then. All right, well, welcome back. How have you been, man? What's new? Let me get your guys' take on the whole Fuentes, Tucker, neutralize, all of that stuff. Like, you must, I assume that's on your radar. The, I forget what newspaper it is. It slipped in my mind at the moment, but there's some like Jewish CEO of one of the big newspapers that really is kind of a dinosaur now because people use the internet. They don't daily something or other. Anyway, he wrote an op-ed saying that Tucker should be neutralized. And like neutralized is code language for killed, you know, and so like after Charlie Kirk getting killed, that really was very, very much a dog whistle. I mean, I don't think that anybody would disagree with that. Like that's a Mossad dog whistle, you know. And it says like the state of our country right now, where you know a Jewish CEO can say that publicly, like publish such a statement, you know. Meanwhile, you know, people are getting harassed by police or whatever for shit they post on Facebook or something, you know. They get whatever they want. They want wars. They get it. Nobody says no. There's a great Nick Fuentes video out right now where he says that nobody can say no to the you know who's, you know. And then he just rattles off point after point after point, and I'm like, fuck, man, this is, you know, like NATO can't stop them. Nobody can stop them. They have anything they want. And if you go against it, you're anti-Semitic, blah, 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 blah. And mean words, mean words, mean words. Mean words. We'll control the goyim with mean words. But I often sit and think about, like, you know, my family knows I'm very political, and a lot of them don't like it, you know, but it's like we're way, way past that. That all that went down years ago, so that's kind of a not really something that can change, but whatever, it is what it is. But I do often think, like, I would really like to just really sit them down and say, look, this is what's really going on in our country. And this is why I'm engaged in this. Like, if you choose not to engage in this, that's your business. But don't shit on me because I do. You know what I mean? I'm out here fighting for freedom. What the fuck are you doing? You know, going to football games? You know, like, you know, what the fuck, you know? So I would just like a little tiny bit of respect. In so far as like I don't need you to respect me, but don't bother me. You know, like don't say like, oh, you're a bad person because you're a nationalist, you know. But honestly, I think it all boils down to just low IQ. I just don't think that. And I know that sounds cocky and arrogant, but I've been around this subject a billion fucking times. And I've tried and tried and tried everything I can to say, like, look at the fucking data, you know, look at the facts. And it's like they're blind to raw truth because it doesn't fit the conformity narrative of like you gotta all be the same. Like, don't don't break away from the pack. Don't question anything. You know, don't think for yourself. I don't know. Maybe I should give up hope on it. You know, maybe I should. You know, that's a tough question. Anyway, let's read some chats. The the Plaid Wizard is here. Welcome, welcome. Good to have you. Wow, we were already cooking on debates here or on chats here. It's good in you. I'm okay. Kolovrat says the origins of the. I've already read. Oh wait, no. Is debated. Ah, shit. What happened? Hold on. Shit, my phone's fucking around on me. No, I don't want to try that. I'm sorry, guys. The phone's being stupid. Give me a sec. Oh, shit. Where did it go? Debated. Some people think it's National Socialist in origin, whilst others think it's Slavic pagan. My understanding is it's pagan, but a lot of pagan symbols kind of got absorbed into the National Socialist iconography. Hope you're doing well. Thank you. American Rebel says, I'm not an avid Nick watcher. Never really paid attention to him, but the reaction to Tucker interviewing him is not surprising. I would recommend starting to follow. Just go find one of those like Nick clips sites, where you just see other people put together clips of his shows. And that just like cuts out hours of shit. You can just get right to the meat. But he's definitely a voice you want to start paying attention to. A video we posted about it on Twitter. My mom was skeptical when I said they're going to strip our rights of criticizing that country. Doesn't matter if they're illegal aliens or legal citizens. Yeah. What is it? Like if you want to know who rules over you, then find out who you can't criticize, right? That is the scenario. All right, moving on. This marker is drying out on me. Getting annoying. Or which flags you can burn. Oh, interesting question. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, enough of your commercial. Okay. Oh, that's a fun song. I don't know. I don't. I'm kind of sort of absorbed in the work here. I don't think there's anything new to really say as far as like, you know. I will say that there was a major, I don't know what to call this. There was like a group of quote kids that vandalized, did a huge vandalization very near where I live the other night, like yesterday, and it's like all over the news where I live, and it's just a sign that I got to get the fuck out of here. Basically, 40 different properties were vandalized, and it's pretty serious. So I don't know. It's like I want to. There's a lot I could say about it. I gotta grab something. I'll be right back. I mean, you get vandals here and there, once in a while here and there. But this was like a full on fucking assault, like 40 different properties all in one night. There's a lot of people that We're gonna have to spend a lot of money to recoup on the fucking damage that these quote kids did. If you knew the lay of the land and where this street is and how it directly connects to a really bad neighborhood, it's kind of like that sort of bridge, if you will, you know. I suppose there's one in your town, you know, where it's like, oh, don't go to that road because, you know, that's the bridge, if you will. So it's just shit like this. It fucking upsets you. You know, you wanna fucking explode when you see shit like that. You know. Or which? So what old Sterling talks about with certain neighborhoods of certain complexions? Yeah, yeah. You know, I mean, I just it's just the thing where it's like you know what it is. You know, you fucking know what it is. You know. There's been more and more and more of these particular demographic people coming across town on their bicycles, and they're dressed in a certain way, they carry themselves in a certain way, and you know what they are. You just know what they are, you know. So it's not, you know, and then one night you get this, you know. And a lot of the people who live in that particular area, they're just struggling people, and they're not even all white, you know. There's like a little, you know, this and that, you know. But it's just the nature of it, you know. It's like, let's go into these other neighborhoods and fuck everything up, you know. So what's next? Are there going to be robberies in the parking lots? And you know, I can remember reading a story about this is another neighborhood not super far away, but in a more rich neighborhood, and they found like a Somalian guy walking around inside their house, and he was like, "Oh, I was walking my dog and I lost him. Is my dog in here?" The Somalians don't own dogs, okay? You know what I'm saying? You know, it's just and them being like stupid white rich liberals are like, "Oh, so you don't understand our ways, and you're from another country, and so, you know, let's be patient with him, and let's help him out, you know." And you're lucky you're alive. You're lucky you're alive. Let's just get right down to it, you know. Um, but the fucking audacity of just literally walking right into someone's house and just like, yeah, I can just do this, you know. I can just do this. There's nothing stopping me. mean, I'm armed and ready. So like somebody's gonna turn into hamburger if they come into this house. I don't want to do that, but you know, it's if it's my life or your life, then you're gonna find out. You're gonna find out. You know what I mean? Um, yeah. But yeah, it's time to start looking for another place to live. Basically, it's not gonna get better. Oh God, why do we have to live like this? With certain neighborhoods, and gang turf wars. Well, one thing that always upsets me is when I see graffiti in just anywhere in our neighborhoods. When I see that, it's because it's like a dog pissing on something to say this is my territory. Like I own this territory, and it's a communication to other dogs that don't put your graffiti here because I was here and this is my territory. I believe in some cases it's like it's sort of like I sell drugs here, so don't if I catch you selling drugs here, I'm gonna shoot you. Like that's a kind of a gangster code thing. I don't know if that's true, but that's something I've heard. Um, it's filthy to begin with. Like I hate looking at graffiti. Like I hate graffiti to begin with. It's vandalizing, it's like not art. It's vandalizing. Um, and it just says like it to me. It's like a form of intimidation. It's like a way to say, we're here, and it's not cool. It's not cool. I was actually thinking like if I needed to get like out of here in an emergency, like where would I go? Who would I stay with? Um, I should kind of have set up some sort of plan like that. You know what I mean? Um, I mean, I have people in mind, but like it'd be better if I just said like, hey, this thing happened over where I live. I was just wondering, like in the future, if there was some kind of shit hit the fan type scenario, would it be okay if I crashed out over at your place for a while? You know what I mean? Just get it out there, you know. I know I'd get like a yes from most people. But then there's also like, what about my son? What about his mom? Like, what about my other friends and family in the area? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So let's read some chats. My town kind of became a ghetto. Police siren shootings, women screaming in the evening and midnight from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. That's fucking horrible. I'm kind of banking that my book is successful so I can leave. Yeah, it saddens me because my hometown and it because it's my hometown, and it wasn't like this in 2022. That's a thing, right? It's this whole like we have an attachment to the places we grew up. We shouldn't be leaving. We shouldn't have to leave the places that we grew up in. This is our fucking home. And it's just this shit. Oh, it's infuriating. Wow, look at her. Hey, it's not every day a mermaid jumps into your boat like that. A Japanese mermaid, no less. I wonder if the Japanese have mermaids in their culture, in their mythology. They have water spirits. I forget the name of the thing, but it's a kind of a goblin that drowns children and stuff, and it's one of those like stories to keep kids away from water. They have I think it's called Tengu, and I think Tengu just means demon, but if you look at it, it's got a really long nose and a beard, and it's kind of reminds you of a certain demographic. Strangely, Kolovrad says, "Let me check real quick for a Japanese equivalent to a mermaid in their folklore." Cool. When I lived in Japan, I was just fascinated in studying their religion, folklore, arts. What an amazing experience that was living in Japan. And even though I really went to study Buddhism, I became fascinated with Shinto. There's a lot of Shinto temples, and Shinto really informs the arts a lot over their traditional arts because it's ancient culture. And Shinto is it was the religion before Buddhism. Buddhism was imported from China during the Kamakura period, and along with it, lots of Chinese culture and goods and technologies and other things of that nature. But what I'm getting at is that Shinto is the indigenous religion of the Japanese. And just like all indigenous religions, it has a lot to do with sort of nature worship and ancestor worship. And so this is something I find really fascinating is how all over the world in different cultures and times, indigenous religions tend towards animism and ancestor worship. It's kind of an interesting thing, and it begs the question, like, should we not still have ancestor worship and animism in our, I don't know, in our cultures, you know? Yeah, I know there's different people of different religious stripes and would probably disagree with that, but I don't know. I see something of value in it, I'll put it that way. Speaking of which, I had a debate with my pastor friend. He's not technically a pastor. He's like certified to be one. But I thought I'd give him some trouble. Anyway, Kolovrat says, okay, there is. It's called the Ningyo, Japanese for human fish. Ningyo, so desu ka. Interesting. I will tell you, and I am totally convinced this is real, that I actually took a screenshot from it. Excuse me. It's one of these diving crews that had one of those. It's like the kind of submarine that you take to the very, very, very deepest parts of the ocean, because the normal submarine would squish under that much pressure. So you got to have like these specialized ones, you know. And they're researchers and they're down there trying to like video new species of fish and things of this nature and understand the ocean, blah blah blah. And they always have the cameras on, for starters. And the one dude was sort of sitting by the window and just talking, and then there was a slam on the ship from the outside. It was like a bang. Something hit the ship. And when you're down that deep in the ocean, if something hits your fucking ship, you better, oh, holy shit, what is that? Right? You might die, right? So, I can't talk and do this, I'll fuck up the art. Right directly behind the guy who's on camera sitting in front of the window, a human form swam up to the window and slapped the window really hard. And you can see a hand, a human hand. It's not really human. The fingers are a bit longer. They come to a point, and there's sort of like webbing in between the fingers. And then the light coming out from inside the ship reflected onto the being. It's very, very hard to see the face or this thing, and it was very fast. But if you break it down frame by frame by frame, it's absolutely humanoid, like no question about it. The head looked more alien to me, and it wasn't super clear. You couldn't see the head very clearly, but I'd say it was shaped more like an alien's head. That kind. The kind. I think, right? That sort of like weird fucking shape. And of course, the guys inside the thing were terrified. And I like played that clip over and over and over, and I tried to really zoom in. Took screenshots and stuff. I've got the screenshots somewhere. But shit, man. Fucking wow, And you can poo-poo that all day. I have no problem with that if you want to poo-poo. And say, oh, it's CGI, something. I can't accept it's real. No. It can't be real. Oh, it'll destroy my reality. Oh, no, it's not real. Oh, it's fake. Everything is fake. Except my little world. Oh, you're weird for looking into that stuff. Only weird people look into the paranormal and UFOs. I don't want it to be true. Therefore, it's not true. Okay. Okay. And then there's another story of some people, deep sea diver types. Excuse me. This is just one of those, like, if you're involved in this type of cryptozoology field, it's a well-known story. And I don't know if they were military or science, scientific, that kind of exploration, but it was same kind of a deal where they were down way past where humans have ever been, testing out whatever the new technology that they can allows them to get down there and all that. And it wasn't just one person, it was like a couple people, and they came to kind of like a cliff edge, and obviously off the cliff would have been, you know fatal to go down into there. And they're at the cliff's edge, and then a few of these sort of alien humanoid fish beings come up from the depths, and I guess it just kind of stood there. I don't know how you would communicate with these things. I think one of the scientists tried to capture one of them. What a fucking ridiculous thing to do. Let's capture one and take it home. Like, do you really? I mean, I don't know. To me, that's like I'd just be happy to get out of there alive. That didn't pan out so good, from what I recall. But I think what I need to do is get a little bit better at remembering these stories and with like names and dates, and so that people can go research them by themselves. That would at least, that'd be the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God. Do the right thing. Yes, indeed. So, what do you think? Is Tucker going to get neutralized? So it's the basically the Jews in power have just made it clear to the GOP that they collectively are to disavow Tucker Carlson, that like he's not allowed at any events anymore, and he's a what do they call it, non person grata or something or other. It's like he, in a sense, doesn't exist anymore. Charlie Kirk, when he was like just days before he got whacked, was telling his Jewish donors that he is going to have Tucker Carlson at the next Turning Point USA event, and that's many theorize that that's another reason why he was taken out. But I think he was an example. I think he was meant to be an example. Like, this is what happens. What's so crazy is the particular officer, the so-called security guard, I mean, this, of course, there's all kinds of footage. People had their cameras on. I mean, there were. Oh, and that's another thing. They confiscated all the cameras. Why the fuck would you do that? Why would you do that if you're not trying to hide something? Oh, we must confiscate all the cameras. No, you don't want to do that. You know, you would want. I don't know. I'm not a police officer. I don't know how those things work, but it's pretty fucking obvious that they're hiding something. But anyway, so what is obvious is that this one, the guy that they believe triggered the explosive or that shot him, whatever means you believe in, he jumps over or whatever. He jumps in there and he grabs some device and then hands it off to somebody, which is all on film. And then that person, like, stuffs it in his pocket and runs off. And it's like somebody just got fucking shot. Like, your first attention is on stopping the bleeding, not like, oh, let's get this device out of here, stick it in your pocket and run away. That's not too sus, is it? That's not sus at all, huh? But it really kind of has to, how do I say, has to make you question these people in security and in like the security industry. You know, like, who are they working for? What are they? Are they literally just like thugs that'll work for anybody for the right price? Do they have any allegiance to America and the Constitution and American people? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, is there? Can we? It's a little bit of an overgeneralization because there's going to be good and bad cops or whatever. But it does make one think. That's for damn sure. So there it is. What if we are not the only species left and our cousins evolved into something strange and unknown for survival? So that to me is just totally a very rational question. Like, that's not at all a strange question. If beings evolved from out of the water, then maybe beings evolved to go into the water. Maybe there was food there or protection there or something there, that would cause that to happen. I don't know. Or maybe it's just evolution and like we don't apparently there's so much more about the ocean that we don't know. Like, there's still a lot we don't know about the ocean. We know more about the moon or something than the ocean. That's as I hear. So yeah. And then more than that, much more than that, there are caves and crevices and cracks under the ocean that go to who knows where. Essentially, oceans under the ocean. The Earth is it's got all kinds of oceans underneath it and such, and it's pretty fascinating. The year of the cat. Oops, sorry. Let's do some reading here. We got a couple new friends in the chat. I got to go back a bit. Wow, lots of chat. Let's get into it here. Wow. Japanese. Okay, we did that. The Ningyo. Honestly, I see it being believable. Leif Erikson wrote down descriptions of an 8-foot tall man with brown hair all over his body, and he was in Newfoundland, in Vinland. Yep, that's your Bigfoot, your basic Bigfoot. Nobody talks about it. But it's interesting that Leif Erikson wrote down a description of a Bigfoot, yes. Honestly makes you think if we're the only race or species with this type of body and behavior. Robert Pyle is here, ladies and gentlemen. Hello. Check out his YouTube, and he's got his own show, that Robert Pyle. Welcome to Jason C2334. Good to have you here, Jason. Thanks for joining us tonight. Kulavrat says, what if we are not the only species left and our cousins? I just read that. Yes, highly probable in my view. Or because there is genuinely something evil out there and they transformed into something horrifying because they did something incredibly evil. Oh, cool to see you here. Okay, so I just saw. It's funny because, hold on. Like, I'm pretty. Man, I've been researching UFOs and paranormal stuff for 20 years. I'm very well informed on it. I'm not. Everything that I believe or think is based on some information that I came across. You know, it's not just, somebody said it and therefore it's true. No, there's got to be some kind of corroboration, blah, blah, blah. And then, show me some footage, da, 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 da. And of all of the theories out there, the one that I have the least amount of reliable data on is the reptilians. Like, to me, I've heard a ton about them, but I've seen, like, I haven't really seen any hard data on it other than testimonial. See, you know where I'm going with it? So, like, it's just the one thing that I still feel is like science fiction. Shape-shifting reptilians. I guess you could probably say, like, oh, well, this guy or that girl works for NASA, or they did this or they did that or something. So, and like, it's a reputable person. The source is reputable, but then it's just, I don't want to just say hearsay, but like, I don't know. I find testimonial to be, weak if it's not backed up with any kind of hard data. And hard data could be things like, excessive radiation in the location where someone said a UFO landed that's unusual or unnatural. Various things of that nature. There's lots of stuff like that. Now, the other cool thing is that, and I could contradict myself in a minute, there's one guy that's one of my favorite UFO abductee dudes, and he has a story of meeting reptilians that's really, really interesting. Jay Sparks? Jay Sparks? Jay Sparks, I think it's got. His last name's Sparks, which is not like a real name. Jay Sparks? Is that his name? He wrote a book called The Keepers. If you look up Sparks, The Keepers UFOs, it'll pop right up on, like, I don't know, Amazon or wherever. And you'll see like an illustration of a really ugly looking alien. Jay Sparks? I haven't watched his videos in a long time, but there was in my studies when I came across him, I became obsessed with him, and I was like, I have to find every single interview with this guy. Back in the day, they used to have a great show called Project Camelot. Anyone who's an OG, paranormal researcher would definitely know Project Camelot. They did amazing work, amazing work. And they went deep on many, many, many different types of topics. A lot of interesting stuff with, I don't know what it's called, but they're basically like the military programs in Russia where they were trying to create like psychic soldiers or paranormal superpowers, things of this nature. And they did come across and interview like children that had telekinesis and things like this, and they would film it. And this is like going back like 15 years ago. So there was no real CGI, you know, in on the internet per se. I mean, you had some cheesy CGI in the movies or whatever, but nowadays everybody's like, "Oh, that's fake." They just don't. You know what I'm saying? And they got a point. It could be fake. It could be fake. And now with AI, we're far more fucked. Like there's just the chance of things being fake is so much higher. In addition to the fact that people are incentivized to get clicks, that they want to, you know, blow up their TikTok or whatever the fuck it is. So I'm just glad that I was like around when, you know, I could see something and be like, there is no way that this is fake. There's no way. This is fucking real, 1,000,000%. And it, it's one of these like you can't look away things where you're shocked and horrified in some cases, but you can't look away. And then after kind of revisiting it over and over, it just starts to become normal. There's a now this one's very questionable, and I'll be happy to take criticism on this one. But there's this Australian kid. He's just like a like one of these like punk teenagers with like a YouTube channel who you know does funny things. You know what I mean? And that's like a very normal thing for that age group or whatever. And still, I'm still going back another like 10, 12 years from today. And the channel's called The Polished Knob. It's just I was like, oh boy, what a great resource for like clinical research. Oh shit, so because you're just immediately expecting to be, trolled or scammed. So he lives in a kind of countryside-ish area in Australia, and he started noticing what appeared to be people outside watching in his window, at night. And this would happen again and again and again and again. And it's quite terrifying because you're way out in the country, and then you see figures moving in the bushes, and weird things are happening. Your doors are slamming, but there's nobody at the door, and he's getting terrified. He's really really scared, and so he's filming it, and he films it over and over and over and over and over. And finally, he starts capturing footage of aliens. And some are tall and skinny, and some are short and squat, but they're fucking aliens. They are fucking aliens. Why the fuck are they there? What do they want? I don't know. I don't know. And so there's one point where he started, he would post these videos, of course, and then his friends would come around and they'd be like, "Holy fuck, what's going on?" Da da da. And at one point, they followed one of these aliens into the woods. Well, okay, yeah, this is starting to feel like, you know, Johnny's having a laugh at like spooking people out with a fake UFO video, blah blah blah, that kind of thing, whatever. But then when two aliens appear and they paralyze one of the guys, and the other one is screaming and running away, and he has to come back and like save his friend, and you see these two figures standing there. They're absolutely not human, it's the shit. It fucks you up, man. I mean, when people do finally come around to this, because there's gonna come a time when there's no choice. There's gonna be you're gonna need to go through a phase of like, I don't know, just kind of like get over it. Like it's hard to look at, but you're gonna have to face it, kind of deal. If that makes sense. So yeah, that's now the whole Atlas. What is it? 3i Atlas. That whole thing. That's a. I don't know where to go with that because that's got like Project Blue Book written all over it. I can't. I'm just kind of waiting and watching. I'm not like invested in any kind of big theories about it at the moment. You know what I mean? I need a little water. I'm getting parched here. Hold on. Turn off this commercial. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, where's the water? It's on the other side of the room. I'll be right back. All right, here it comes. Ooh, take a little. Take a little of that sweet soul music. Bluebeam. You know about Project Bluebeam, Colivrat? What's his name? Come on down. I can see his face. He was the Nazi that came over to the U.S. after World War II and ran the rocket program. Starts with like a W. Fuck, somebody help me out here. What's that fucking guy's name? He's huge, huge guy, major guy. He was like the greatest rocket scientist of the like the 50s or whatever. And what the fuck is his name? I keep wanting to say Wim Wenders. I don't know where that's coming from. Oh, this is humiliating. Anyway, okay, as you know, the Americans took all of Germany's top scientists after World War II, and there was one particular guy who was this kind of handsome, tall, strong Germanic dude that he was in the news a lot. They even had him working with Walt Disney at some point, and he kind of was the foundation of like the NASA program. What the fuck is his name? That drives me out of my mind. I know a lot. Whoever's listening to this right now is like, oh, it's blah blah blah, and I'm like, I wish I could remember. Anyway, forget it. So he, on his deathbed, he told his secretary, "Beware of the fake alien invasion. Beware of the fake alien invasion. Beware of the fake alien invasion." So, what would it? Why? How and why would there be a fake alien invasion? Well, to institute a global world order, to be like, oh, this danger is from outer space, and all the governments of the world are working together to defend you. And naturally, there's gonna be massive deaths, and oh no, the UFOs are killing us off. And please, government, help us take all of our freedoms away. It's like 9/11 on peyote, like just way off the charts. So that is Project Bluebeam, is to, a false alien invasion. Within the so-called UFO community, there's a lot of, I don't want to be judgmental, but it's sort of hippie talk about like, oh, don't worry, it's going to be okay. Like there's other forces out there at play that will be, protecting us or something. And I sure fucking hope so, because there's nothing. We got nothing, you know. The only thing we have is like to sort of boycott whatever the government is, and even that might get you thrown in a camp. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. Werner von Braun. Oh, can I just punch myself really hard in the fucking face, please? I told you it started with a W. I told you. Okay, Werner von Braun. Okay, thank you, Jason. I'm gonna send a check for $100 to you straight away. Get my secretary on the phone right now. Thank you, sir. The guy who made the V2 rockets. Oh, thank you. I have this really weird thing with when I'm on this show and I'm drawing. My theory is that like at least 50% of my brain is focused on drawing, probably more. And then like that's why I blank out when it comes to silly things like names and stuff, you know. Because if I were just like hanging out with some buddies and talking, I'd be like, yeah, so Werner von Braun, blah 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 blah. You know, it wouldn't have a second thought about that. But it's only when I'm recording that I have to make these mistakes. All right, I think I've complained enough about that. So anyway, although I talk about a lot of this stuff, I think that it gives people the impression that I'm like this tinfoil hat dude, that I'm like way out there or something, you know. And that again, I think is just part of that whole sort of prejudice that we're trained to have to try to humiliate people that talk about stuff like this, you know. It's kind of a form of containment, I guess. I think I need a regular. So, yeah. Oh, I'm missing some things here. Bedtime stories and wartime stories talk about that stuff with paranormal and supernatural, and I find it interesting. Good. Well, I'm glad you do, because I'm going to talk about it. With stories from 1500s to 1800s to the Cold War and Y2K eras. Very, very cool. Good stuff, man. Now, Kolovrat, you're a writer, so maybe tell us a bit about your writing and things that you find interesting, you know, to write about. That could be a good segue. And then also, who is your publisher? That would be nice to know. So it is November. Ugh. It's like once Halloween's over and it's November, there's this sort of, you know, everybody's like, oh, winter's coming. Oh, you know, that you just kind of like, you know. I guess that's part of what football is for, is to just kind of, you know, get people through the cold weather, I suppose. I don't know. Some good news on that front, actually. So Saturday night I was out jamming with some friends, and the like the drummer is a super close friend. We've been in bands together. The guitar player is a much younger guy, very 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 talented, very bright guy, good friend. He's also a filmmaker, so he could make like music videos. Is what I'm saying. And his interest in music, like the kind of music that he wants to play, is more like shoegazing, something like somewhere across between like alt country and psychedelic rock. It's a pretty neat combo, I guess, you know. And so in our jam session, that's pretty much what we were doing. Something along in that vein, if you will. And I just started emoting, like singing words that fit the mood of the kind of real sad music. Let's just be honest, you know. And it sounded phenomenal. Like I do have a really good voice. I know that I do. And so that was just like a really really beautiful moment. And he called me while I was on the show last night. Anyway, I whatever, we got back in touch, this and that, and he was saying like, dude, let's start writing and recording, you know, fucking, what do you call it? I just said it. Shoegaze music, you know. Sh- I don't know that shoegaze is an actual genre, but it's sort of slow, sad music that has a folky kind of a feel to it. And like it's that's not the kind of music that I would write for our people in our movement, because we need uplifting music, we need moralizing music, but I am good at that. I am good at that kind of whatever, that darker stuff. So it looks like we're on. Like we're gonna do this, which is really cool. And I was describing it to the drummer. I was basically saying, we should do this. It'll help us get through winter. And when I said that, he kind of got upset in a way of like, isn't it sad that we have to do things to help us get through winter, And I'm like, I'm sorry, but it's true. It's true. You know, we've got to. We've got to do stuff like this. Winters can be long and hard up here in the north. What I'm excited about though is that the chemistry with these players is so damn good. It's so good. It's so good. So whatever we do produce is going to be fucking great. I don't think I can use Donald Kent though with this. Like I think I'll have to use my normie name, my real name, and or come up with a fake name, I guess. I don't know. Because being associated with somebody who does pro-white media can get you canceled hard in this world still. We're still in a place where like a young filmmaker can't have Donald Kent in the credits. Otherwise, bitches will go out of their way to fuck up your art career, your life. And he's biracial on top of it. Like he's you know what I'm saying? He supports what I do. And he's right wing ish, and mostly. But I really fucking hate living in a world where, we have to hide our faces and hide our names, and that we can be attacked. And it's really what it, I think, boils down to is that we need to just start red pilling the normies and saying, listen, like those are domestic terrorists that are lying about us. And Not only that, we're not here to harm anyone. And so while you're looking at this situation, consider blah, 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 and like maybe talk about ideology or something. Or not, but just leave me the fuck alone. I have a right to think and have my own political views. I don't hurt anybody. I don't call for anyone to hurt anyone. I'm an artist, It's like, so, but no, we're gonna ruin you. We're gonna ruin you, ruin you, ruin. Ha 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 ha. We ruined you. Like, go fuck yourself. I think you do that enough, and we're gonna come back at you. We're gonna come back at you. And actually, that's happening right now. The Trump administration has declared Antifa a domestic terrorist organization. Finally, they're literally at a physical war with ICE right now. And, prayers for ICE officers, for their safety of their families. See, those are the people, they have to wear masks. Those are the people that have to be careful they don't get doxxed. Because Antifa will go to their homes. You see what I'm saying? And they'll really, really hurt those people. I'm not kidding. Like, they want blood, But, make a movie or a rock song or a comic book, and holy shit, we got to destroy your life, Because Nazis. There's a guy, Greg Gutfeld, or Gutfeld, I believe. He's on Fox News. He's like a comedic dude on those like Fox News talk showy things. He's actually Jewish, and he's trying to popularize this joke of us calling each other Nazis for the way blacks call each other the N-word. I was like, it didn't really, it didn't really catch on, when he like brought that up on the show. He's like, how blacks call each other the N-word? Well, Nazi is the N-word for whites. Hey, how you doing, my Nazi? Hey, Nazi, how you doing, my Nazi? All right. And it just was like, it didn't, did not really flow. But I appreciate the sentiment. I thought that was a very, very thoughtful sentiment on his part. What else have we got going on here? Let's back out and look at the whole page a little bit. Oh man, let's get back to some chat. We got more chat going down here. Okay, hold on. Hey Don, hey Trad Dad is here. Welcome back. Welcome back. Warner von Braun. It's Scorpio season, a time for personal metamorphosis in astrology. Well, guess what, Matt W? I am a Scorpio and a water sign. So what does that mean? Help me. The girl that I've been seeing is also Scorpio water sign. So she's more into that stuff. I need to learn more about it. But we'll get there. Colorado says, well, the publisher I'm going with are Aureus Press and Bizarchives, two fabulous places to publish. And the stuff I like is dark medieval punk, fantasy mixed with pagan and gothic elements, along with some bits of horror. My brother, I am going to have you on my YouTube show. I'm preparing to get back to doing like a variety show where I feature artists, writers. So please email me. If you you can just go to AmericanZarathustra@gmail.com, or you can go to my website and use the contact form. But please do contact me, and we'll promote your work and have you on the show. Matt W says, happy for you. Thank you, brother. Thank you. A lot of esoteric stuff. I love the esoteric stuff. Robert says, I just want to hibernate like a bear when winter gets here. I hear you, buddy. I think it's a good time to do creative projects. I always think that reading books, writing, any form of creative project, that's like what winter's for in a way, Artists have art and music, and we have stuff that keeps us afloat, whereas I think other people struggle a lot more, in the winter time, which is rough. But anyway, get you into some creative projects. What was I gonna say? I guess I'll just. Oh, shut up. I don't want commercials on the show. And thank you very much. So, what else? I'm half ready to spend winter in Montenegro. I need a warm vacation. That's a nice idea. Kolovrat says, yeah, one of these days I'll have to hide my alias Rexus with something else so no one I associate with gets canceled. That blows. All right. Yeah, let's get through this one, Jason. What up, my Nazis? It should have caught on. How you doing, my Nazis? All right. So Matt W says, nice, Donald, but that's just your sun sign. There's also the moon, which rules your emotions, and your rising sign, which is your outer persona and path. I need somebody to do my chart, basically. Tread Dad, gotta finish this car project this winter. Make time to get it creative and build muscles. Good. Mine are Leo, Sun, Aries, Moon, Capricorn, Rising. Okay, I don't know what that means, but cool. Colorado, well, I'll definitely have to set up my email. I'm lazy with stuff like that. Lazy? You son of a gun, you. No excuses. Yeah, contact me, man. That'd be great. Be a lot of fun. It's such a great line. Another year and then you'll be happy. Just one more year and you'll be happy. But you're crying now. It's like one of the best songs of all time. Makes for a good convo with young lasses. What are we? Oh, hold on here. I definitely said. Oh, you're talking about astrology. Can you lend a Nazi a pencil? So, you know, I just don't know what to tell you. Where do I go with this? Yeah, it's just so crazy because it's like, so you've heard about fake news, and you heard about this, and you heard about that, and you heard about the other one, and you know that they're lying about all these things. Well, wait till you hear about World War II. I've got a friend who's making a big comeback. She's going by the name Etta right now. She was actually in the chat last night. And she's going to be doing a show on German history, on the true history of World War II. And she's already been doing a show on that, but she kind of was on and off with the podcast over so many years. But that, to me, is one of the biggest niches that really, really, really needs attention. She's of German heritage, German descent. So that's a kind of a nice tie-in with her ethnicity. But I don't know. I love the idea of telling the true fucking story. It's Americans are so profoundly brainwashed, by Lügenpresse, by lying media, Hollywood, Jewish Hollywood. And I'm hoping that on the tail of everybody turning against Israel, that it's going to be time to have a real adult conversation about Adolf Hitler, National Socialism. You don't have to be like wholesale about the whole thing. It's like, okay, this was another country 100 years ago. So there were different circumstances. What can we in America today take from National Socialism? that would work in our culture and time, that would benefit people of all races within that are American citizens, you know. Because I feel like the far right isn't really going to succeed unless we come up with an answer that will help the different ethnic communities. You know, it can't just be for white people. I know not everyone's going to agree with that. I could get some kickback for saying that. But I think legitimately, if we're ever going to have a kind of like a place at the table, so to speak, you know, where we can actually converse with everyone in the mainstream, then we have to be like, okay, look, this is how National Socialism would solve the problems in the black community. This is how National Socialism would solve the problems in the Native American community. This is how National Socialism would protect women's rights. This is how ba ba da ba da ba da ba, fill in the blank, fill in the blank. And once that's done, now we're mainstream. You see what I'm saying? And I think combine that with people waking up to the fact, the reality of like Jewish hegemony and crimes against humanity, and people will realize that like if Hitler had won the war, America would be, and the West would be in like a far, 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 far greater place, far, far, far better place than we are now, and we wouldn't be on the verge of extinction. You know, where we're being bled to death by parasites and raped to death by Muslims and Mexicans and blacks and all the shit that we're going through, you know. It's nightmarish, truly. Complex stuff, I know. And the problem again is that there's so many fucking low IQ people out there that just trying to have a normal 1+1 is 2 conversation about politics with the average person is pretty hard to do. Their mind is you know, jammed up with all kinds of ideas. They're unwilling to listen. You know, they just want simple answers, and they want to go back to watching football. You know, it's like, you know, it's tough. It's real tough. How are we doing on time here? Okay, yeah. We're doing good, I think. We got a little headway here with this nice page. This is a spicy page. Spicy, spicy. Perfect song to end on. Like a sexy song. Oh boy, we got a couple messages that YouTube is hiding. Let's see what it says. One says, astrology is chick crack. That's hysterical, dude. That's just very funny. You're basically right, though. Surely someone can coin a new term to describe the 21st century American disenfranchised white. Disenfranchised white. Well said. Regardless, whites need to talk and lead themselves once again. Yes, I just feel like nobody's coming to save us. Nobody has our interests in mind. Everybody, I mean, I don't honestly blame everybody for having the views that they have. It's because they live in a Marxist echo chamber, like movies, TV, academics, politics. It's the same message from different angles, and all of the messages are whites are evil and must die. You know, but take everything they have while we can. You know, because once they're gone, we'll go back to being a third world country. You know what I'm saying? Because these people don't have the capacity to think in abstraction about like, well, if the whites are all gone and then there's nobody to pay taxes and run the country, what's gonna happen then? You know. Once again, back to the IQ issue. I always think like America's big enough for people to live separately. You know, you can have communities over here and communities over there. And You follow your rules, we follow our rules. Like, if the Amish can do it, everybody can do it. That's my view. Wow, I just solved all the world's problems. Mr. Craigman, hello, sir. Very spicy. Asian Mermaid said, I love you long time, Mr. Shiny White Guy. Oh my god. That was, oh my. I can't believe that you said that. That was hysterical. May rub you wrong time. I'm sorry. I love Asians. I lived in Asia for 5 years. Don't come down on me, okay? I mean, like, I'm not anti-Asian. I love Asians. Um, okay, let's see what kind of tomfoolery is going on in the chat. That's right. A Judeo democracy echo chamber has a death grip. It's faltered at the moment, so community politics is currently easy to gain grounds. Craig says, I know you said you don't do the comedy genre as much, with the exception to this comic, but I would be interested in seeing what kind of comic, maybe even the same general concept with memes as characters. Not super clear on what you mean by that comment. Are you saying, like, if I did my own comedy comic book instead, because this is somebody else's story? It would be way more radical. It would be more like you're gonna get in trouble for saying that kind of thing. This is like everybody can enjoy this. It's not like exclusively far right. It makes fun of everybody, which is frankly the right way to approach comedy, I think, especially in the what we're doing here. I'm too subjective for that kind of thinking. I'm not as professional, I suppose. But I just don't. My mind doesn't work. It's like in person with people. I'm very funny. I make people laugh their heads off all the time. But that's like a spontaneous circumstance. Like whatever the situation is in the moment, in a nanosecond, I can find a joke in it, and I say it, and I make everyone happy. But to like sit down and write and try to be funny writing a story is not what art is for, in my personal view. Like, I want to make people cry. I want to make people angry. I want to make people feel the presence of God. I want to make people consider suicide. I want to make people feel connected to their ancient ancestors. I want to make people go to war. I want to make people explore space. I want to make people. You see, I'm a very tortured person, and that's part of why I'm so funny in real life. But like, as far as when it comes to art, that is what it is for, is to release the pain that I have. I have oceans of pain inside me. That art is the thing that keeps me from losing my mind. So like, I need it. You know what I mean? Now, doing freelance work and helping other people that I admire and respect is a joy. It's a joy, and that's fine. So like, that's just a different kind of thing. It's a kind of a relationship. Spencer J. Quinn, he's a good friend. He's associated with White Art Collective. He publishes regularly with Greg Johnson, Countercurrents. And I've had him on the show several times. We've done book reviews of his. I've done a lot of illustration work for him. Dave Martell, the dude, the man, the legend, like that kind of like heavy metal magazine, badass Frank Frazetta shit, like that's fucking fun. You gotta have fun, and like, I need fun to lighten up. But like, when it comes to my own stories, they're gonna be torturous. There's gonna be a lot of agony. The agony and the ecstasy. That's what I'm about in my heart. So let's read some chats, and I gotta wrap it up here because God, Daddy's got to work tomorrow. That's right. Okay, read that. I know you said you don't. I read that. would be like from your version? Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I think I answered that. Norse runic. Well, you know what? To try to seriously answer that, how would I make it funny? Well, the memes are already funny. You know what I mean? There's already. Oh gosh, that's challenging. That's actually pretty challenging. I would not want to just kind of do the usual, like troll the liberal type thing. I wouldn't. That would not be, because that's like low hanging fruit. Like it's just easy to offend liberals. I don't want to do that. To me, that's almost like being a liberal in a way. How would I make it funny? I'll have to think about that, man. I can't. I don't have an answer. Uh, Kulavrat says Norse runic astrology is very interesting. My rune is Solio. So when I was in high school, I bought a pack of runes and a book on how to do the runic readings, and it was really fun and interesting, as a teenager. So maybe that's something I could get into again. I just like that it's tied to being, you know, European. All right, reading on. Craig says your version of a comedy comic may be with memes like this one. Well, this author is so unique, and he's so highly intelligent, and he's so clever. He's a guy that can handle very complex concepts and juggle numerous of them. If that, I don't know if that grammar came out right, but many of them anyway. So he's so unique and so different from my sensibilities that there's no way I could copy him, and I don't know anyone who could, to be honest. Interesting question. So my birth rune is Thurizaz. Nice, inspiring. Well, I don't mind it being for everybody, but treating the slur Karen as mainstream rather than fringe and cringe makes it feel less for everybody in reality rather than a theory. So the way the Karen robot is used in this story is it's not it's definitely not anti-white. It's more of a like everybody knows this meme, and so we're gonna have a little fun with it. You know, Karens are probably by and large liberal women. It's not like you're never gonna find a conservative Karen. That's just not the nature of it. But I will tell you with 1,000% certainty that the author of the alliance is not anti-white. He's not anti-white. I'll leave it at that. Craig says, I know that was someone else's character and you're just drawing it. I'm not bringing that up to give you a hard time, just elaborating on your version would be better, on why your version would be better, and to answer your question. I honestly don't think I could do better than this author at this project. It's so uniquely him. I wouldn't even think to do this. Like, it just isn't. I'm a different guy. I don't know how else to explain it. But he and I have a really amazing chemistry. And I think he's bringing out a lot in me that I didn't know that I had. So that's a whole new dimension of this project. Craig says, what if we collaborated and I wrote some of it? Maybe it can be a group thing, scope, context, memes, and such. I think that is a worthwhile concept. I don't know if maybe this author would like want to work with you. You'd have to reach out. I could set that up. Again, I don't know. It's this is a whole universe. This is a whole universe in itself, and there's like at least 100 different characters, and it seems to me like, yeah, if there could be like a bunch of writers that did different stories, it would be more like Marvel Comics or DC Comics, where you have several writers that are writing Avengers, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Thor, da da da, and they all somehow are part of the same universe, you know. That's an interesting idea. Tom is Karen does. I can take comedy about my own race, I guess, but Karen doesn't. Well, again, there's nothing anti-white in this story. There's nothing anti-white in this story. It maybe looks critically at different factions of the political spectrum, you know. But I don't really feel like anybody's gonna walk away from this like super offended and angry and like, you know, rah, 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 I'm gonna like yell at you about some shit. Like I don't. I think everyone's gonna have a good time. That's my main view. And on that marvelous, happy, cheerful note, I believe I shall close up the show because gotta get up early for worky worky. So I'll leave you on this magical image here. I have so much to say that I about this image that I can't say publicly. But anyway, imagination is a wonderful thing. You guys have a great night. Thank you so much for joining. Definitely excited to hear and learn about new creative projects, writing projects, anything and everything that you're doing. I appreciate your taking the time to hang out with me. I love learning about your different perspectives and projects that you're doing, publishing this and that, whatever. So keep on rocking, and we will see you again next time, okay? All right, have yourself a great evening. Nighty night.